Hello and welcome to the Seed Savers Exchange 43rd Annual Conference. We are so excited to see you here. If you've been to past conferences or events over the last 8 years, you may already know me. I am Jeanine Scheffert. I am in charge of the Education and Engagement Program here at Seed Savers Exchange, including this annual conference. This year, for the first time, we have the opportunity to come to you via this lovely conference platform, and I couldn't be more excited about it. Right away, I want to say thank you for the grants and sponsorships whose financial support made creating this platform possible. That includes Mountain Rose Herbs, Sustain Natural Fertilizer, Terra Chips, Organic Valley, Purple Cow Organics, Sweet Botanical Bakes, Lucuma Designs, Jonga, Chelsea Green Publishing, and Alliant Energy. A huge thank you to the generosity of all of these sponsors. I also want to thank Humanities Iowa for a grant we received. This grant specifically sponsoring the sessions that talk about the relationship between humans and seeds, and it is a part of what made it possible to offer tickets at the $20 advocate level, making this conference so much more accessible to so many people. While I'm saying thank you, I also want to say thank you to the entire conference team. You'll see them listed as hosts in the speaker section of the platform. And of course, you'll have the opportunity to see them hosting sessions throughout the conference. An extra shout out to Sierra Kruger, who has been our education and engagement intern this summer and has put in countless hours helping me create and test this platform. And to Meredith Burks, who has been promoting it, working out the registration process, and spent the last 3 days making sure we all had computers and cameras to make it all happen. I'm so excited about all of our speakers this year. We have speakers streaming in from Mexico, Halifax, France, Palestine, India, and all across the US. One of the things we've been talking a bit about here at Seed Savers Exchange is how much we miss seeing you all in person. And I hear this a lot from you as well. There's nothing like sharing connection to people at Heritage Farm, and we all miss those in-person events. Also, we are blown away by how many people we can reach virtually from all over the world and who can see, or we can see that virtual platforms are so much more accessible to so many people compared to having to make your way to us here in Northeast Iowa. I encourage you all to watch for our post-conference survey that will open up after the event to let us know your thoughts on this important discussion as well. One more thing before I introduce you to our executive director. We have come up with some community agreements for this conference in order to embrace a collective responsibility to create a space that is respectful, inclusive, and empowering for all. We ask that all conference participants remember to be respectful, be curious, be patient, to speak from your own experiences, trying to avoid jargon and explain the terms you use. Be conscious of the intent versus impact of your actions and words. If you're someone who rarely speaks up, please take space. If you're someone used to speaking often, please make sure to make space for others. And lastly, always make sure to take care of yourself. For the full details of these conference agreements, please see the link in the chat. With that, let me introduce you to our Executive Director, Mike Bollinger. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Jeanine, how are you?
Welcome to the conference. Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm glad to be here. This is very exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. So Mike, you joined us in September of last year as our executive director, but your connection to Seed Savers Exchange started long ago as a field crew member. When was that? And what was the world like back then?
Yeah, so that would have been in 2003. I had a connection to Decorah because I did my undergrad studies at Luther College here in Decorah, and was fortunate to build a friendship with Carrie Whaley, one of the daughters of Kent and Diane. And so we spent time out at Seed Savers Exchange before I really had a deep understanding of all of the work and impact that the organization was doing, and looking to the future as well. And so we would spend time out there, walking around in the woods. And as my partner at the time and current wife, Katie, were looking at what we were going to be doing with the future, one of the things that Diane always said was, and if you ever need work and want to come work at Seed Savers Exchange and join the field crew, our doors are wide open. And so returning from some time in West Africa, my wife was in the Peace Corps there doing agriculture and natural resource management work. We were looking for a place to land, and we remembered that conversation and came back and joined the field crew. And so it was a different time. I mean, that was 20 years ago. It was really the foundation for what became lifelong learning in agriculture. So it was the first time I had ever done gardening. So working with such a diversity of plants was really eye-opening for me.
Yeah. And between then and now, you have dedicated your work to organic and sustainable agriculture in one way or another. Tell us a little bit about that work and what you've been doing between then and now.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that really stuck with me coming back from West Africa was the importance of community. Thinking about the rural subsistence farming community that we were in southern Mali, there was, everything was interconnected. There was an incredible amount of support between, families and neighboring communities to make sure that everyone had access to food. And coming back here, that was really something that was eye-opening for me, as I had an interest in medicine and human physiology and health, and really that kind of opened my eyes to the importance of community. And so from there, from our experience at Seed Savers Exchange, we moved out to coastal Maine to a nonprofit organization that was the former homestead of Helen and Scott Nearing, where we really jumped into learning about what it meant to grow our own food. We're fortunate to be able to live at that homestead with a small orchard, a small garden, and greenhouses, and really just have space to live and learn and experiment and have successes and failures. From there, we just really found a passion and love for the community and for agriculture. Had an opportunity to move down the road and work with Elliot Coleman and Barbara Damrosch, who were smaller acreage organic vegetable farmers that were really passionate about organic practices, about extending growing seasons. And that was, again, a foundational moment for us, thinking about how we could turn our love and passion for food and for growing food into something that could be our livelihood. So we spent a few years working with Elliot and Barbara, and then I grew up in South Dakota and wanting to kind of come back closer to the Midwest. Ended up in Chicago doing work with the Chicago Botanic Garden, learning more about education, working with the Chicago public school system, growing food in community gardens and school gardens in urban lots. And eventually, to kind of skip forward a little bit, ended back up in Decorah in 2009. Started our own organic vegetable farm using similar practices and acreage size to what we had been doing in coastal Maine, while also launching a business called Four Season Tools that was looking at season extension, education, consultation to be able to help other people use practices to be able to turn small acreage vegetable production into a real source of food abundance in communities.
Some great work. What doing all of that, what made you decide to come back to Seed Savers Exchange specifically?
Well, I mean, Seed Savers Exchange has a real important place in my heart. It was the foundation of our adventure and life and around food and agriculture. Coming back to Decorah, it was a significant part of what allowed our business to be able to grow through contract growing garlic, through growing plants for the visitors center, through the mail order program. So we have had a business relationship with Seed Savers Exchange for a long time, but then just the community around that. I mean, we're in rural Northeast Iowa in a town of 8,000, and there is a lot, Seed Savers Exchange has a draw. It brings people from all over the world. As you mentioned, even our speakers today are coming from, across the world and across the U.S. And so it has been a source of learning and for us over time. And it's just exciting to be able to be back and be a part of that, continue the legacy of the last 50 years as we look to the future.
Nice. And so now that you're back at Seed Savers and immersed in the seed world, what kind of changes are you seeing now from the last time you were at Seed Savers in terms of where the seed world is and what kind of things are happening here?
Yeah, I think conversation around seed and its place in the food economy and the agricultural economy has really grown. I think one of the things that I've really been struck by coming back to Seed Savers Exchange and looking at all of the work that the organization is doing, and all of the connectedness with other organizations, the partnerships, the collaborations, is really astounding. I've really been taken by just how much work and community and passion there is around food and seed, and so it's exciting to be a part of it. One of the things that I'm also excited about is, as I in my life have had opportunities to be able to take what I learned at Seed Savers Exchange and have a life that has taken me many places. I've been fortunate to know other folks that have also been a part of Seed Savers Exchange and have gone on to do incredible things, are continuing to be seeds people, starting their own businesses, growing seed, building community, and so to be able to see and be a part of that is an honor.
Back to that community that you started off talking about.
Right.
And what do you think about when you think about the future of the seed movement? What do you see as challenges and what opportunities are you excited about?
Yeah, so I think, again, with an organization that has been in existence for nearly 50 years with a mission to, steward our heritage and food legacy, a lot has changed, right, from the inception of Seed Savers Exchange and from Diane and Kent and, the Morning Glory and that German pink tomato to a collection of over, 20,000 varieties. One of the things that I often think about as the executive director is, the resources that we have as an organization. How do we best utilize the resources that we have as an organization to support and uplift not only the collection that we have and the work that we need to do, internally, but also how we leverage those to be able to really support all of the good work that is happening within the country. And it is, as a nonprofit organization that really is, focused on open sharing, on accessibility. We also have to be mindful of resources as a nonprofit organization, because much of what we do isn't monetarily based. And so, how do we best utilize the resources that we have to not only be able to steward our own collection, to be able to do the work that we need to do on Heritage Farm, but also utilize those to be able to support and uplift, the other work that good people are doing. And so, looking at capacity building, right, with a staff of nearly 60 now. Most nonprofit organizations, and Seed Savers Exchange is not unique. We're at the capacity of the work that we can do too. So how do we build capacity through partnerships, through collaboration, through working together, and to be able to uplift the good work that we're doing, that others are doing, to create the greatest impact that we can as we look to the future.
Beautiful. Mike, I have one last question for you.
Sure.
What are you most excited about for the rest of this conference?
So this is the only real participatory part that I have in the conference. So I get to sit back and also be listen in on the sessions. I'm really excited about that. I think the people that are presenting, the conversations that we'll be having over the next couple of days are really incredible. It really shines a light on all the good work that is happening in so many different parts of the U.S. and throughout the world. So I'm just excited to be an observer, to continue to learn, and to see where conversations like this take Seed Savers Exchange and the other work that we're doing as we moved into the future.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thanks for being here, Mike. Thank you all for being
Absolutely.
here. Welcome to the conference. We are looking forward to it, and we'll see you at the next session.
Have a great couple of days.